Eloisa is a jewelry company that I have worked with in the past, and I absolutely love this company. Their pieces are tarnish-free and long-lasting, and they use only the best noble metals. The other thing I love about this company is they have really fair prices. There's no markups, and they have pieces that start at just $39. You guys know I love to stack my necklaces, so I chose 3 new pieces from Ana Luisa, and I feel like they stack so nicely together because they are so dainty and they kind of get a little bigger as they go down. And I love this honeycomb necklace. I've never seen anything like it out there. It's a very unique design. Ana Luisa is currently holding a Mother's Day sale, so if you buy 1 piece of jewelry, you'll get your second piece 35% off. This is the perfect way to get your mom a Mother's Day gift while still being quarantined. I will leave all of the information in the description box below. Today's video is an update on the 2 missing children out of Idaho, Tylee and JJ Vallow. Now, I have already done a 2-part video on this case, but it just continues to get weirder and weirder, and new information is coming out all the time. So I am just going to start at the beginning again for those of you who have no idea what this case is about, and try to give you all of the information without confusing you too much. But this is a confusing case. Okay, so the 2 missing children at the center of this case are Joshua Jackson Vallow, who goes by JJ, and he is 7 years old, and he is the son of Lori Vallow, and her husband, the late Charles Vallow. Charles and Lori adopted JJ, but his biological grandparents stayed in the picture, so they remained in close contact with JJ. They FaceTimed him regularly, and this will come into play because even though they live across the country, these grandparents would be the first people to kind of ring the alarm bells in this case. The other missing child is 17-year-old Tylee Ryan, JJ's sister. And although they are not biological siblings, they were extremely close. Tylee is your typical 17-year-old girl. She is very happy. She has a lot of friends. She is very outgoing. She is Lori's daughter from her 3rd marriage, which we will get into in just a minute. Tylee was described as being very spunky and just a fun girl to be around. So the mother of the 2 missing children has kind of stolen the crown from Casey Anthony as being the most hated mom in America. Lori Vallow is 48 years old, and she is very deeply involved in the Mormon religion, so that will kind of play a part here. Lori has been married 5 times. Tylee's first marriage. We do know she was married in 1992, and the couple divorced shortly after that, and we also know that they had no children together. In October of 1995, Lori gets married again to a man named William LaGoya, and together William and Lori have one son named Colby. But eventually this marriage also ended. In 2001, Lori marries her third husband, a man named Joseph Riley, and this is Tylee's father. So together they have just the one child, Tylee, and this marriage lasts until Tylee is about 3 years old, and then they file for divorce. Lori remarries yet again in 2006 to a man named Charles Vallow. Charles is a very successful and very wealthy businessman. He is known for just being a super nice guy. He grew up in Louisiana and he was Catholic, but when he met Lori and began dating her, he eventually converted to Mormonism. While this couple did not have any children of their own, in 2014 they did adopt JJ. The couple at this time was living in Chandler, Arizona, but toward the end of 2014 they decided they were going to move to Hawaii, Kauai to be exact, to open a juice bar business. So the family packs up and they move to Hawaii, and this was a good move for the family. They enjoyed living there, and they quickly made friends and really loved that more laid-back, slow lifestyle that you find while living in Hawaii. It was while Lori was living in Hawaii that she was introduced to a man, a writer named Chad Daybell. Chad is also a member of the Mormon Church, and he was very well known within the Mormon community. He wrote a series of books that were published and then sold at some LDS bookstores that were called Standing in Holy Places. And these books were basically about how everyone is failing and sinning and the world is gonna end because everyone is sinning so much and being misled by Satan. So Chad is kind of more of a Mormon extremist. So while Lori and her family are living in Hawaii, Chad is living with his wife and 5 children in Idaho. Chad had recently become very involved with a extremist group called Preparing a People, and they're kind of referred to as a cult, and so they also had this podcast that Chad would appear on regularly. I went back and tried to find the episodes that he appeared on, but they have taken down anything that he was on since this thing all went to hell. Chad is not your average Mormon man. He claims that he receives revelation and visions from God. Because Chad has these revelations from God, He knows that the world is getting ready to come to an end, and it, according to him, will be ending July of 2020. So he feels like it is his responsibility to prepare the people for the end of the world. In 2017, Charles and Lori decide that they no longer want to live in Hawaii, and so they move back to Chandler, Arizona. And 1 year later, on April 3rd, 2008, completely out of the blue, Tylee's father dies of what is believed to have been a heart attack. A few months later, on December 5th, 2018, Chad and Lori meet in person for the first time. They were both appearing on the Preparing a People podcast. So, as far as I could find, this is the first time they meet up in person. Lori has become more and more radical within the Mormon Church, and she is basically just drinking the Kool-Aid that Chad is serving up. She is really into these Doomsday teachings, and so the two obviously have a connection. So there's not a ton known about the beginning of the relationship between Chad and Lori, but we do know that Lori was kind of introduced to this way of thinking and into this cult by Chad, and this girl dove headfirst down the rabbit hole of the Preparing a People cult. She was like hooked right from the start. In February of 2018, Charles decides that he needs to file for divorce from Lori. Her behavior had been super erratic, and she was obsessed with the end of the world. Lori began telling her husband that she too could receive revelation from heaven because she was one of the chosen people who God had chosen to help usher in the end of the world. She had also taken $35,000 from their joint bank account and transferred it into a different bank account that was just for her. So she basically stole $35,000 from her husband. She also threatened to kill Charles if he got in her way of her mission, which was preparing the people. So he files for divorce, and then Lori just up and disappears. She doesn't take her kids with her. Nobody knows where she is. She just vanishes for 2 months. Then Lori comes home 58 days later, and no one really knows what happened between Charles and Lori, but at this point he withdraws his motion for divorce, and the two decide they are just gonna try to work on their marriage. Okay, switching gears for a minute, now we need to talk about another player in this case, and her name is Melanie Bordeaux. Melanie is Lori's niece. She is also a Mormon who has been pulled into this Doomsday cult. She lives in Arizona as well, and she's married, she has kids, so it's not known exactly how she got involved in this cult, but it is most likely that her aunt kind of recruited her. So Melanie is married to a there hadn't really been any issues. This was very out of the blue for Brandon. She just was done with the marriage. Around this same time that Melanie files for divorce from her husband, for whatever reason, Lori decides it's just not gonna work between her and Charles, and she moves out with the kids. So they're both still living in Chandler, Arizona, and Charles is paying for this house for Lori and his kids to live in, and then he stayed at the home that they all lived in when they were like one big happy family. In July of 2019, Charles drives over to the home that he is paying for Lori to live in to pick up JJ. And Lori knew he would be coming. This was not like an unexpected drop-in on his part. Lori's brother, a man named Alex Cox, had been staying with her at her home. So when Charles comes in to pick up JJ, he and Lori begin to argue. Now, according to Lori, JJ is out in the car at this point, and Tylee is upstairs in her bedroom. And things escalate very quickly between these estranged spouses, and eventually Alex comes in and he's kind of standing there watching his sister fight with Charles. And Tylee hears this fighting. Tylee gets this aluminum baseball bat and brings it downstairs, and she's standing there holding the bat, trying to protect her mother, but she's not swinging the bat. She's just trying to maybe show Charles that, she has it if she needs it. According to Lori, Charles then grabs the baseball bat from Tylee and begins to hit her brother Alex with the bat. Now, I am going to point out right here that everyone who knew Charles Vallow said he was so kind and even-tempered. And even his ex-wife said she never saw him lose his temper. So if this did happen, which I don't think it did, this would be very out of character for Charles. So then Alex goes upstairs and gets his gun that he happened to bring with him to Arizona and shoots Charles once in the chest, killing him pretty instantly. A few minutes later, Alex calls 911 to tell them that he shot his brother-in-law in self-defense. Now, he is so calm. He seems like he is just talking to a friend. It doesn't seem like he was just beat up with a baseball bat and then shot and killed someone he's known for years. He just very nonchalantly tells the police that, "Oh, I just shot my brother-in-law because he was attacking." When the 911 dispatcher asks Alex if there's anyone else in the home, he says no. According to them, Lori had taken Tylee and they had both gone to drop JJ off at school. Now, this makes no sense to me because Charles, the only reason he was there was to pick up his son. So why would he stay back at his wife's house and not take his son just to fight with her brother? That doesn't really make any sense. However, this story did make sense to the Chandler Police Department, and this shooting was ruled self-defense. Now, one theory about this case is that Lori had not left with her children, and just a little bit. Let's keep going with the timeline. After police have done their investigation into Charles's death, they kind of pack everything up and go home. And Lori throws a massive pool party at her house that same night that her husband was just shot and killed in. And this party was so loud that the neighbors were complaining about it. So it doesn't seem like Lori cares at all that Charles was killed. In fact, it kind of seemed like they might have been celebrating. Then Lori sends a very casual text message to Charles's sons from his first marriage to let them know that their dad has died. Just out of the blue, "Hey guys, sorry your dad died." And they're like, "Wait, what? What happened?" And she never answers them. She says, "Oh, I'm waiting for the medical examiner. Oh, I'm so sad. Just be patient with me." But she never tells them that their father was shot. Now again, I covered this a lot in my first two videos, so I'm not going to read through all of the texts, but I will link them if you are interested in more in-depth in the history of this case. This is more just kind of an update story. A month after Charles dies, Lori decides that she needs to get rid of JJ's service dog. They had purchased this specialized service dog for JJ because he is on the autism spectrum, and this dog was kind of working wonders with JJ. He was more calm, he slept with the dog every night, and all of a sudden she contacts the place who they had got it from, the person who had trained this service dog, and said, "Yeah, we need to give this dog back." On August 10th, 2019, JJ's grandmother, Kay, FaceTimes him, as she often did. There was nothing abnormal about this FaceTime call. He seemed like his happy, normal self. It was a pretty short call, but this would be the last time she would ever hear from JJ. In the following weeks after she had FaceTimed with JJ, Lori and her kids, Lori's niece, Melanie, and Lori's brother, Alex, all picked up their stuff and moved to Rexburg, Idaho. Now, Chad Daybell and his family are living in Salem, Idaho, and this is like a 7-minute drive from Rexburg. So they all move in there, and they all get their own apartments in the same complex. And we know that the kids are with Lori at this point. On September 8th, Lori, Tylee, and JJ go on a trip to Yellowstone National Park. Police were able to track down pictures of Tylee at Yellowstone, but this would be the last time that they are able to confirm that Tylee is alive and well. A lot of people have a theory that Lori and Chad had a bunker somewhere near Yellowstone, and they took Tylee to that bunker at this point because she's never seen again. But on September 17th, JJ is seen on a neighbor's Ring doorbell camera, so they can confirm that JJ is still at the apartment at this time. JJ is also seen a few days later on September 23rd at his school. The next day, Lori goes in and just kind of abruptly pulls him out of school and tells the office staff path that she's just gonna homeschool him from now on. Tylee hadn't even been enrolled at school in Idaho at all. On October 1st, 2019, Lori rents a storage unit, and there is surveillance tapes of her and a man who was believed to be Alex moving things into this storage unit. But now people are thinking it may have actually been Chad Daybell with Lori. The next day, so one day after Lori is seen on this surveillance footage with a man, Brandon, Melanie's husband back in Arizona, is driving home. He's just worked out at the gym, and as he's pulling into his house, somebody shoots at him, and his back window is completely shattered, and he doesn't see who shot at him. It was somebody driving by. But he did recognize the vehicle. It was Charles Vallow's Jeep. And remember, Charles Vallow is dead. Brandon thinks that it is likely Alex Cox who is driving Charles's Jeep and tried to shoot him. However, later this surveillance footage would come out, and Alex would say, "I couldn't have shot at you in Arizona because I was at this storage unit with my sister just the day before." On the same day that Brandon is shot at, Lori is seen looking for wedding dresses. 1 week goes by, and on October 9th, Tammy, so Chad's wife, is unloading groceries out of her trunk. She's parked in the driveway of her house. She's getting groceries out of her trunk, and this masked man came up to her, and he was holding what she thought at the time was a paintball gun. And she freaked out and started yelling, and he ran away. She later posted about this on Facebook, saying she has no idea what any motive would have been, why someone would have been trying to shoot at her with a paintball gun. The next day, October 10th, a Venmo payment is sent from Tylee's Venmo account to her brother Colby, and you can't see the amounts if you transfer money on Venmo, but you can see the message, and the message said, "We love you." 6 days later, another Venmo payment is sent from Tylee's phone to Colby, and it just had a heart emoji, and that was it in the message section. On October 19th, Tammy Daybell dies in her sleep of unknown causes. She was this healthy 40-year-old woman. She had no pre-existing conditions. She hadn't been sick at all, and she just dies one night. Her death was ruled to be from natural causes, and Chad insisted that no autopsy was done on his wife, and she was buried in Springville, Utah. Police would later find out that Chad was making all of these statements that he had had revelations that his wife was going to die soon. Tammy had a life insurance policy for the amount of $430,000, which was paid out to Chad. And the police don't really look into her death at all. It seems like she just died in her sleep, and she's buried, and that is that, at least for a little while. A few days after Tammy dies, one of Tylee's friends gets a text message from Tylee. Now, she had sent a message to Tylee like a week earlier, and Tylee never responded, which was very unlike her and frankly very unlike any teenagers, right? Like, they always have their phones with them. And she didn't even respond to this message her friend had said. She just sent a message that said, "Hi, miss you guys too, love ya." And this friend said she didn't feel like this message was sent from Tylee. It wasn't the kind of language that Tylee used. She didn't talk like that. 2 weeks after Tammy Daybell dies, Chad and Lori go to Hawaii and get married there. Chad's family was interviewed, and they said when they met Lori, they were unaware that she had any living children. All they were told was she had a daughter named Tylee who had died. Police would later find out that this wedding ring that Lori had at her wedding with Chad was purchased 2 weeks before Tammy died. So it's pretty obvious here that these two were planning on getting married before everyone died. Chad had bought the ring from Amazon. In the meantime, JJ's grandparents are getting really concerned because they haven't been able to communicate with JJ, and they keep trying to get a hold of Lori, but it's just radio silence. On November 26th, they are eventually so concerned that they call police in Rexburg and ask them to do a welfare check on JJ. This is when police first get involved with this entire case. So up to this point, these deaths are just being ruled as natural deaths or self-defense shootings. And these kids have been missing, and no one knows that they've been missing. So police go to Chad and Lori's apartment, and Chad and Alex are outside talking to police. And they tell police that Lori's not home right now. And the police are trying to ask Chad about the children. And he's like, I don't really know if she has children. I don't know her that well at all. Chad is saying he doesn't know Lori, but he's married to her. The police ask Chad, well, can we get Lori's cell phone number so we can try to contact her because we need to do a welfare check on the children? And Chad's like, oh, I don't even know her phone number. Police eventually get Lori's phone number. They also ask her brother Alex where the children are, and Alex tells them that JJ is staying with his grandparents in Louisiana. But police know this is a lie because these are the grandparents who had requested the welfare check to begin with. So at this point, thank goodness, the police realize something is really wrong here. And they get in touch with Lori, who says, oh, the kids aren't with JJ's grandparents. They're staying with my friend in Arizona. And she gives them this name of a really good friend of hers from Arizona. They check out Lori's story, however, and this friend is like, no, Lori's kids aren't here. In fact, I haven't seen Lori's kids for like a year. So police are like, okay, we have missing children. And so the next day after they had done the welfare check at the apartment, they go back. But Chad and Lori are gone. They have taken off. And no one knows where they are. A few days later, on November 29th, Alex gets married to a woman is preparing a people cult. And just days after Alex gets married, Melanie also gets married to a man named Ian Pawlowski, who is also heavily involved in this cult. On December 1st, finally, police realize Chad and Lori are living in Hawaii without Tylee and JJ. So they have located Chad and Lori, but no one knows where the kids are. 5 days later, police get a call from this friend of Lori's who she had claimed had the children. Now, they had already spoke to her and they knew she did not have the children. But apparently Lori didn't realize police would check up on that story so quickly. So she calls this friend and says, Hey, I need you to tell police that you have my kids, that they've been staying with you. And so this friend is like, nope, and gets off the phone and contacts Idaho police to let them know. Police realize the kids are missing and endangered, and they start to really dive deep into Lori and Chad's history. And they find all of these suspicious deaths. And I mean, there are just bodies piling up behind these two people. So they decide they need to exhume Tammy Daybell so that they can do an autopsy to find her cause of death. Police also wanted to look into Joseph's sudden death. Remember, Tylee's father had died suddenly and unexpectedly, but he had been cremated, as had Charles Vallow. Even though the kids are missing, investigators don't really have anything they can arrest Chad and Lori for. And people have really criticized police for this because there are just all these pictures of Lori and Chad living their best lives on the beaches of Hawaii, ducking into Mormon churches on Sunday to worship. Like, these two are just living their lives, not at all concerned with everything that's going on around them. However, I really do think police were just waiting and gathering enough evidence so that when this went to trial, they would have like a slam dunk case. On December 12th, 2019, Alex found dead on his bathroom floor in Arizona. He had been married for just a week and a half when he died. Police did do an autopsy on Alex, and the results are kind of pending. They said it could take up to a year. So we don't know anything about why or how Alex died, but it is being called suspicious. On December 20th, police release a statement saying that Tylee and JJ are missing. On January 3rd, 2020, they get a search warrant to search the home of Chad and Tammy Daybell. And they end up taking a lot of items from the home, including computers and cell phones and some documents. 2 days later, on January 5th, Lori's son Colby, from her second marriage, releases this YouTube video begging his mom to just tell everybody where the kids are so this whole thing can be over. Then JJ's grandparents release a press statement saying that there would be a $20,000 reward in this case for the return of the grandchildren. Then police in Hawaii, working with Idaho police, serve Chad and Lori with this court order. And this court order stated that Lori had is this car. Inside of the car, they find both JJ and Tylee's birth certificates, and they also find a debit card in Tylee's name. And when they start to look into this debit card, they realize it's been being used since Tylee was last seen. Police also ended up searching Chad and Lori's home that they were staying at in Hawaii, and there is just no evidence that there were ever children at this home. The deadline to produce the children comes and goes, and Lori doesn't show up with the kids. On February 3rd, a journalist goes to Lori's storage unit that she had rented in Idaho. And there have been, at this point, some theories going around that the kids were dead and their remains were in this storage unit. So this reporter goes there just kind of sniffing around and finds out that Lori hasn't been paying her monthly rent on this storage unit. And because of this, I guess if you don't pay for your storage unit, it's considered abandoned. And so this journalist gets access to this storage unit. Inside were all of JJ and Tylee's personal items, like their clothes, their toys, bikes, photographs, all of their stuff. On February 20th, police have finally gathered enough evidence to arrest Lori Vallow. So she was arrested in Hawaii on a warrant out of Idaho. Her charges included abandoning her children, obstructing officers, criminal solicitation to commit a crime, and contempt of court. And her bail was set at $5 million. Now this is really high for bail, but I think it shows that the prosecutors thought that if she got out, between all of these life insurances that they've been collecting, she would be a flight risk she could run. Lori's first court appearance shocked everyone. She isn't acting sad or upset at all. She's laughing, she's smiling, and throughout this entire ordeal, Lori and Chad have just been hounded by not only the local press in Hawaii, but just local civilians wanting to know where the children are. There were even flyers put up around where they were living in Hawaii that said, "Tell us where the children are." This doesn't seem to faze Chad or Lori. Even behind bars, Lori seems completely unfazed by the events that are going on in her life. On March 5th, Lori was extradited back to Idaho, and she makes her first appearance in Idaho. Her attorney asks for a reduction in bail. So the judge does reduce her bail to just $1 million. At the time that I am filming this, she has still not been able to bond herself out of jail. No bondsmen want to work with this woman. She is such a flight risk. On March 13th, the judge ended up removing himself from this case after kind of some pressure from Lori's defense attorneys. So a new judge was assigned to the case, and then the two attorneys who were working on Lori's defense withdrew from the case. Brandon Bordeaux then came forward saying that he thinks Alex Cox was responsible for shooting at him, and he says that he has proof, although he has been advised by his attorneys not to say anything about this proof. He's in his own legal battle with Melanie, his ex-wife. surveillance video because he wouldn't have been able to drive from Idaho to Arizona that quickly, like in one day, and then shoot at Brandon. And police can't find any record of him flying to Arizona. It's like a 15-hour drive from Rexburg to Chandler, Arizona, so if Alex was in Arizona, then this surveillance footage is Chad and Lori at the storage unit. In the meantime, Brandon Bordeaux's life is just this insane story that doesn't even seem real. So he hires his own PI to kind of look into what is going on. And his PI claims that on Halloween in 2019, he saw Alex and Melanie packing up all of her stuff into a U-Haul, and they left all of the stuff behind just out on the road with a sign that said "for free," and it was all children's things, so like toys and stuff like that. Brandon has said that he thinks Melanie knows what happened to JJ and Tylee. Okay, so next, Melanie's new husband writes this letter. And in this letter, he claims that Chad and Lori told Melanie that Lori's kids had become possessed and that they were zombies. They believe that zombies are living people who have had their original spirits forced from their bodies and have been taken over by demons. Melanie then told her husband she was concerned for the children because Lori had begun saying that because her children were zombies, they needed to die. And she also apparently told her new husband, Al, meaning Alex Cox, had taken care of the kids. So it seems that Lori is so completely brainwashed from this Doomsday cult that she actually believes that killing her children is the right thing to do because it is saving them, because her children have been forced out of their bodies by demons. And, you know, the end of the world is coming, and so she doesn't seem too concerned with the law. Police are not releasing much more at this point, but they are, working hard at building a case. I'm surprised Chad hasn't been arrested yet, but I do feel like those charges are coming. JJ is a 7-year-old boy with brown hair and brown eyes. He is 4 feet tall and weighs 50 pounds. Tylee is a 17-year-old girl with blonde hair and blue eyes. She is 5 feet tall and weighs 160 pounds. Anyone with information about the whereabouts of the children are asked to contact Rexburg Police at 208-359-3000 or the Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-THE-LOST. So, if you're confused right now, join the rest of the world. This case is honestly the craziest case I have ever heard of. I really do hope that these children are being held in some kind of bunker or something. That would be the best case scenario. I feel like Lori is not worried at all about any of the consequences of her actions because this girl honestly believes the world's gonna end in July, so nothing matters anymore. So thanks for watching this. I know if you haven't been following the case, it's a little confusing, but for those of us that have been following it for a while, hopefully you guys kind of followed that story. Let me know what you guys think is going on. What in the world is going on with this? You guys come up with some of the best theories that I hadn't even thought about. So let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time.